he just keeps on pursuing me, keeps on going after me. And when I stop running, that's when he is able to just restore me and release the anger and the bitterness and just all the hurt that I had buried deep in my heart. And he can do that for you too. So I grew up in the church, and I was fortunate enough to be able to do that, considering my parents are immigrants from Vietnam, and so I'm thankful that I was able to just know and learn about Jesus at a very young age. But it wasn't until I kind of grew up a little bit more, and up until about my senior year of high school, I was doing life of just basically trying to do as many of the do's on the do list and staying away from all the don'ts on the don't list. And I was largely unsuccessful in doing that. And it just was just a matter of just doing things to try to be a good Christian. And it wasn't until my senior year that I really learned what it was to be a Christian. It's just to have a relationship with Jesus and not trying to earn his love, because he gives it to me freely already. And this continued, thankfully, into my adult years. I grew in my knowledge of him and just in my walk with him. And I continued into my adult years until I met my wife, who I met at a house church with my friend who started it. We fell in love, we got married, and then about a year into our marriage, we decided to visit Taiwan because that's where her parents were serving as missionaries at a church. Less than a year later, we felt called to move to Taiwan, so we decided we're going to pack our bags, we're going to go and move to Taiwan, we're going to help their church plant and just be missionaries with them out there. But just before we left, we found out that my wife was expecting our first child. So we were super excited, of course, but then only a few weeks later, through different doctors' tests, we found out that she was probably going to have a pretty rare genetic disease, which wasn't going to give her a really good survival rate. So we were kind of saddened by this and a little stressed and just trying to figure out what do we do. And we came to the decision that we're just going to go. I mean, this wasn't a surprise to God. God knew this was coming, and we had already made that commitment to move out there. So we decided, let's just do it. So in January of 2013, we packed up our bags, sold most of our stuff, and moved out to Taiwan, to the other side of the world. And shortly thereafter, my wife gave birth to our first daughter, Sophia. And despite all of the predictions that the doctors said about her not making it to full term, not being born alive, not being able to live even a week, she defied all those odds, and she lived miraculously 47 days. But then she did pass. Needless to say, that broke me. I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know how to make sense of being called to a foreign country to do what we thought was God's work, only to have our first daughter die. While my wife found comfort in the Lord, and she found comfort in the community of the church, I just grew cold and bitter and angry. And that carried on for a number of years. And that was 2013. Fast forward to 2022, this has been 9 years of just harboring all this anger and all this bitterness. And in that process, kind of just building up these habits of protecting my time, protecting the things that I have, the material things of this world, and then kind of just pursuing those things, and I still tried to do the Christian thing of trying to, go to church and trying to read my Bible sometimes, but it just wasn't really jiving. And I was trying to check all the boxes, to do all the right Christian things, but nothing was working. And it wasn't until I heard a message from Pastor Bob here that really just struck my heart like only the Holy Spirit could do. And I could just feel that God was telling me, I don't need you to do more. I don't need you to work harder. I just want you. And he just wanted my time. And so I thought to myself, well, how am I going to get that time? I got a full-time job, I've got a wife, 3 kids, I got all my interests that I want to do and accomplish in life. Like, where am I going to find this time? And I just felt him saying, just give me a try, just give me a try. So I don't know what it was other than the Holy Spirit prompting me, but the next morning I just decided, okay, I'm gonna give you a try. And I spent time with the Lord. I read my Bible and I prayed, and He was just so faithful. In those coming weeks, He changed my heart in a way that I could not have imagined, and did things to heal my heart from all the brokenness and all the anger and all the bitterness that I had harbored and held on so tightly to. He healed me and allowed me to just let those things go and find peace and joy in Him that I could not have found in all the things that I was chasing. He multiplied the time that I had given Him somehow and was still able to do all these different things. And I just got so much more meaning out of each day as He gave it to me. In Jeremiah 29:13, it says, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." And I'm not perfect. I don't seek Him perfectly, but I gave Him a chance, and He was faithful, and He delivered more than I could have imagined. God has pursued me through all of my ups and downs, and even when I didn't know He was there, I could now look back and see how His hand was on everything. And only He could have done what He did in my life to just awaken me and give me a new perspective. He refreshed me and gave me a new lease on life. And I think that just all the things that I went through and what He's done in my life just proves how faithful He is, even when I'm not. So I'm just so thankful for that, and that's my story.